in this particular lesson, we are going to look at working with large point groups. Previously, we have looked at a few, or we have looked at points, probably a single point, 10 points, something like that. But now we want to see how you can work with a large number of points. Assume that you have received a file containing points from a large surveyor, and you want to use that particular point in your design. In that case, you need to import those points, and then you can use them in this particular Civil 3D. Now, to do so, you can just proceed and right click on points, and then click at create. You're going to be taken to this particular layout toolbar, and then proceed and click at these particular import points. Now, before you proceed and select the file that contains the point, it is important that you understand the file format. So before even you proceed and use the option to import point from this particular option, or from these particular import points, you need to open the file first and then understand how the various items are actually arranged, and then you can make sure that the file can be opened by this particular Civil 3D. Now let's proceed and choose NEZ comma delimited. So you can choose that. So that is what we are going to use, and then we click at this particular point. So click at this particular point to edit. Now here we have the point file format. We are going to click at NEZ space delimited. Okay, we can use NEZ comma delimited, and then we can click at copy. We are going to create a new file format. We are going to call it M points format. So we can just call it, or we can just give it this name. So we can call it M point format. And then we have the default file extension. For our case, we are going to choose CSV, that is the comma separated values, because we know that our various values are separated by commas. And then of course delimited by, make sure that we have the comma there. Now we have already understood our file, and therefore we are going to click at this particular point. Here we have the nothing. Click at this particular point, and then for the column name, we are going to change from nothing to point number. So the first number, or the first value, is actually point number. So let's proceed and click OK. And then the second value is actually the easting. The third value is actually the nothing. So proceed and choose scroll until you find the nothing, and then we can have an invalid indicator of whatever we have there, and then you can click OK. And then after that, we can proceed and click at this particular unused column, and then from this point we can have the point number. So make sure that you locate the point number. Okay, not the point number, but the point elevation. So make sure that you locate the point elevation, and then you proceed and click OK. Let's proceed and click OK. And then remember, we have the new format added. It is called M point format. Proceed and close. At this particular point, scroll until you are able to see the M point format. Here it is. So proceed and click, and then click at this particular option to select a file, and then here we are going to choose the M points. Proceed and click at open. So the file is open, and now we can proceed and click OK. And we have the points added. Now we can proceed and close this particular layout toolbar. Now expand the points group, all points, right click, and then click at edit points. We are going to click to, or we are going to proceed to this particular panorama window, and we are able to see all these particular points added. So you can change the order by clicking at the point number. So that is, we start, make sure that you have the point number 1. So as you can note, we have the point number, the easting and the northing, and then you have the point elevation. Remember, these are the columns that we created in the M file format. Now let's proceed and look at the M file format. Proceed and click at the settings in this particular tool space. Expand the points, and we have the points file format. So proceed and click to expand it, and then scroll. We have the M points file format. You can select it and then right click, and then you click at properties. So for this particular file format, we had the first column to be point number, and then the second column to be easting, northing and point elevation. So our points were actually arranged according to that particular format. Normally we can say that that format is actually an appropriate format. So this format is actually the appropriate format. So if we didn't have this kind of a format, there could be a problem. You would not be in a position to import these particular points. So that is it. Now let's proceed and check the original file. It was actually a CSV file. So I'm going to proceed and open it. So as you can see, this particular file that we have opened, or that we have imported into Civil 3D, had these particular 4 columns, and we knew that this was the point number, the easting, the northing, and then we have the point elevation. If, for example, let me proceed and insert a new column above. If there were, for example, let's say we have something here. Okay, you had received a drawing with point number. Okay, you had received this file with point number. This one had easting, and then this one had northing, and then this one had point elevation. So that is how the file was. And then we can just proceed and save it. So we are going to save it as mpoints0001. Remember, we have saved it as a CSV. So that is a comma separated value. Let's proceed and save. And then we need to proceed and close so that we can be in a position to use it in Civil 3D. So let's proceed and close this particular endpoint 001. Remember, for this particular endpoint 001, we have these names that we assume that you received this particular document or this particular file with these headings. So let's proceed and delete all the points. And to delete the points, I can right click on this particular all points, and then you can just proceed and delete points. So let's proceed and click OK. So the points are deleted. I'm going to right click on points, and then you click at create, and then we click at this particular option to import. So we still have our endpoints. So let's try to use it. We have the endpoints file format, select it, and then click at the option to add file, and we try to add the endpoint 001, and then we proceed and click OK. So for that particular format, or for that particular file, it does not match with this particular format that you have chosen. So in that case, it is important that you check your file to make sure that you have the correct arrangement of values. So in that case, that particular endpoint 001 has the heading that you have seen, and for that particular for that reason, it is not possible to use any of this format to import the points. Now let's proceed and choose endpoints once again. Click at this point. We have assume we have rectified the endpoint 001 by removing the heading that we had, and now we have endpoints. So let's click at endpoints. We had opened the endpoints. Let's proceed and click at open. Now for that one, we can be in a position to use this particular endpoint file format. So let's proceed and click OK. So the points are added, and now we can be in a position to see them from this particular list view. Again, if you proceed to the point group and right click, you can proceed and choose the option to zoom to. So once you choose zoom to, you are now able to see the points. So that is how we open, or that is how we import points in Civil 3D.